Whether you're a child or an adult, sweet corn is a taste of summer that everybody loves. They're best picked fresh from the plant and thrown straight on the barbecue with a knob of butter, and they are absolutely delicious. You can't beat it. And I've got a load of plants here which I started about a month or so ago. My first lot failed and they just rotted in the module trays because it just wasn't warm enough in the greenhouse. So I had to start all these off again at home before eventually having the courage to bring them down to the greenhouse. And they've done pretty well. They are getting a little bit root bound now in these module trays, as you can see here. So it is time to get them planted out now. They are starting to show signs of struggling, but you know, they'll be fine. They will recover and they'll do well. This variety is called Rising Sun. It's a really nice sweet variety of sweet corn, and this is the bed here which I'm going to be planting my sweet corn in. I've put plenty of horse manure into this, as well as a little bit of homemade compost as well. So I found that sweet corn really enjoys horse manure, grows really well in it from my experience, and that's probably because of the nitrogen content in horse manure. Sweet corn requires quite a bit of nitrogen to grow, so I'm going to be planting them in this. I'm going to be telling you a few bits of tips and tricks as well with growing sweet corn that I know. There's probably quite a bit to know about sweet corn, so if you've got any tips and advice, do let me know in the comments below, because I'm not an expert. I don't know everything about sweet corn. I'm just going to tell you the things that I know from my experience growing sweet corn. But before we get into the video and I plant out these sweet corn, I have a bit of a confession to make. I have not actually hardened these off, as, to be honest, you're supposed to. You are supposed to harden them off to allow them to acclimatise to outdoor conditions, because they're going to be used to the conditions in the greenhouse. But I've just not had time to do it, and they're really struggling in these module trays now, and they need to go out quite desperately. Temperatures outside now are looking okay, to be honest. It's a little bit cool at night, but you know, generally staying above 10 degrees, and daytime temperatures over the next week or two are forecast to be around 20 degrees or above. In fact, next week I think we're forecast 23, 24, so I think they're going to be okay out here. I'm quite confident. So no, I've not hardened them off, naughty me, but I think they're going to be okay. So yeah, I just thought I'd get that said before I get into the video. I just thought I'd be a little bit transparent with you all before I get started. Okay, so sweet corn does pretty well in module trays, actually, to be honest. The roots don't mind being cramped up too much. They don't like root disturbance very much, but because I'm popping them straight out of the module trays like this, they're not going to mind at all. It's probably going to be a different story with this sweet corn that I've done in this this large tray here, but I'll worry about that later. But the ones with modules are fine. So module sown sweet corn. I'm getting attacked by red ants here, as always, everywhere. So I'm going to be planting them in blocks. I'm not going to be planting them in rows, so to speak, because sweet corn relies very heavily on pollination for success. By planting them closer together in blocks, quite a large amount of sweet corn together, you actually maximise your chances of the sweet corn being successfully pollinated. So planting them in blocks allows the tassels come up from the sweet corn, and the pollen actually falls off these tassels onto the ears below, which have the sweet corn on them, which grow the sweet corn. And that's why you shouldn't grow you know, a couple of sweet corn plants. You should grow as many as possible, really, to increase your chances of pollination. there's no point growing one sweet corn plant because you're just going to end up with a corn on the cob with a few kernels, and it will be quite ridiculous. So yeah, I've got about 80 sweet corn here, so I've got a massive amount of sweet corn, and that will give me good pollination. Now, when these tassels do come up with the pollen on them, it's a good idea to give them a good shake to knock some of that pollen off onto the ears below to further increase your chances. I mean, wind will do a good job at it, but I like to give them a helping hand. So I'm going to start planting these. Yeah, I'm going to plant them around about 12 inches apart. Roughly, I'm not using a ruler or anything like that. Roughly 12 inches apart. All around, and I'm going to fill this entire bed up, so it's going to be one big block of sweet corn. And sweet corn doesn't require any support either. You know, you don't need to support it with sticks or anything like that, because the roots are very strong at the base and they sort of act as an anchor. They're very good, despite the fact that these sweet corns will probably grow up to 8 feet tall. You still won't require any extra support. In fact, sweet corn can act as support for other plants. You think of the Three Sisters, where you've got a courgette plant, and next to a sweet corn with a bean growing up it. You know, the sweet corn acts as support for the bean plant. So yeah, you can actually use it as support for other plants if you're into planting like that. Okay, so that is 52 sweet corn plants planted now into this bed. We've actually run out of space. The other part of the bed over there has garlic in, which isn't ready yet. In fact, it's quite badly infected by rust. It's probably gone a bit too far on these. Hopefully we still get some garlic bulbs, but yeah, it's quite badly infected. But the sweet corn is planted in one big block, so there will be sufficient pollination taking place with these. Now, sweet corn will definitely require quite a bit of watering, especially during hot weather and when the corn is appearing. Last year, I didn't water them quite as much as I should have done during the hot period we had last summer, when it got to about 40 degrees Celsius. It was crazy hot. And what happened is, as the sweet corn was forming, the kernels inside just became really, really dry. And that was down to the fact that I hadn't watered quite as much as I should have done. I probably left them on there a little bit longer than I should have done as well. But yeah, they do require a good bit of watering. And they'll also require some bird protection as well. Magpies really love corn on the cob. And netting over is a preferred option by some. It's probably easier if you have a dwarf variety. Now, netting over your sweet corn when they're 8 feet tall can be a real pain. But last year I tried covering over our corns with socks. I actually covered the entire cob, and this did quite a good job at keeping the birds away. Also the mice and the rats as well. They like sweet corn as well, by the way. So you will need to think about them as well. But birds and mice and rats were unable to get to the corn on the cob. I actually did a video on this last year. If you want to go check that out, I will leave it pinned up somewhere if you want to go and see. And yeah, the results from that were pretty good. Some people were concerned about the corn rotting underneath the socks if it got damp. This wasn't an issue. I didn't have any problems with that. So you're going to know when your corn is ready, because you'll notice that they swell inside the skins, and the silks on the end will start to dry and go brown. That is when you know they're ready. You can have a quick peek as well. Just pull back the skin of the sweet corn and just pierce one of the kernels with your finger, and if the liquid that comes out is clear, then your sweet corn is not ready. But if the liquid that comes out is milky in colour, then that is an indicator that your sweet corn is ready. So that is my sweet corn now planted out. I do have a few left over there, but I'm probably going to hold them back as spare. It's always good to have a few spare, just in case you lose some. You know, there are slugs, there are even birds actually that can pick them out. I've known pigeons come along and strip the leaves and try and pull them out for some reason. They've not tried to eat them or anything. You know, they just pulled them out for, you know, pigeons, they'll just do it to annoy me, honestly. They must do it to annoy me. Yeah, it's a constant battle with the pigeons. But yeah, they're all out here now, and I'll keep you updated on how they get on. Hopefully we'll have some nice corn on the cobs, probably around September. They do take quite a long time to grow. They usually are one of the last things that we harvest from the allotment. Now, I have in the past grown sweet corn in the greenhouse, in the polytunnel, and it has done really well. I've actually had sweet corn in June and July from growing them in the greenhouse. They just grow so quick in the controlled environment of a greenhouse. So I may actually do that with some of the spare ones. I actually grew them in a relatively small pot, one in each pot, with a good bit of horse manure in there and some general purpose compost, and they did amazing. I thought that the horse manure was going to be too fresh or too much for them, but we got some really nice sweet corn. So that is a clear indicator for me that sweet corn really does like horse manure, and every single year I have incorporated horse manure into my beds, and I've had some really nice sweet corn from doing that. So I do hope that you managed to gain some information from this video. I hope you can take something away, and also apply it to growing your sweet corn at home as well. So remember, if you like the video, smash that like button, because it really helps out a lot. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you can see when I upload new content just like this. So I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you all stay safe and happy gardening. See you in the next one.